Yes, welcome to Friction Zona. I'm going to talk about the 5 things I hate about my Z400. And I say that sort of kiddingly. I don't really hate anything about this bike. It's a tremendous motorcycle. There are about 5 things that I would criticize about it. I think you could probably criticize every motorcycle because they have to build them to a certain price point, and they can't have everything that which this size bike, it's a 400cc, $5,000 brand new bicycle. I mean motorcycle. It does ride like a bicycle though sometimes. It's so light and flickable. But my no particular order, I would say the seat is a little too hard. So after an hour, it's hard and it's slanted forward a little bit. I think that's to have a lower seat height or maybe keep you a little more leaned forward a little bit, like a little more secure on the seat. I'm not sure why they do that. Also, it may encourage you to grip the tank with your knees, which is a good idea anyway. So that sort of prevents your family jewels from smacking against that tank. So you should probably grip it with your knees to create a little space there. But it's not a deal breaker. You get used to it pretty quick. I almost don't even notice that part of it. I do notice it's kind of hard. So after an hour, we're at stoplights, I like to stand up a little bit. But there's also a Kawasaki available, a thicker seat, a taller seat. I think it's about $200. It's probably worth it. I may pick one of those up. I've had my bike about a year, and I can't really say I need a new seat, but it'd be nice to have. So the seat might be one thing, but I think that's very common on these kind of bikes. Now the second thing, and this is no particular order, the mirrors, they look okay, but for a guy my size, probably for a lot of people, they're a little too close together, so they're hard to see behind you, which is the whole idea of a mirror. So they're almost, I'm not saying they're worthless, but you kind of have to make a big effort to shift your body around sometimes to see behind you. Yeah, of course, you should always do head checks anyway, so I usually just use head checks because the mirrors aren't particularly helpful. There's probably some solutions for that. I just haven't figured it out yet. Number 3 would be I have the stock exhaust on there. It's fine. It just doesn't sound great. It's for emissions, so it's an easy fix. You just buy an aftermarket. You can put all the major brands have slip-ons that fit the Ninja 400 and Z400. Same thing, same exhaust. It seems like Leo Vince or Aero Apropovic, the Serbian brand, is probably the best. Or Yoshimura, really good ones. The Japanese rival. So the exhaust, but the cool thing is that because the exhaust is so cool, sort of quiet, you can hear the intake sound. There's a really good honk. So when you really pin it, you hear a very cool sound coming from the front of the motorcycle that I think sounds very unique, very different than most other bikes. And I think if you had a loud exhaust, maybe you wouldn't hear that as much. So it's sort of a trade-off. But I do like the intake sound. It sort of goes honk, and then so that's something I like, and I probably wouldn't want to lose that either. So maybe not a real loud exhaust, but maybe a medium one would be a good fit. Now you're looking at the instrument cluster. I wouldn't say I hate it. I sort of like the Ninja 400s better because it has a analog tack, and it looks more upscale. This one looks a little budget. It's kind of small, but it has tons of information on it. It has a gas gauge, which a lot of bikes don't. It has range. It has odometer, two tripometers, odometer, obviously, gear indicator, and you can change that the RPM thing. I mean, the tachometer, you can change the needle. It could be a solid, just like a needle like it is there, or it can be solid all the way through, or it can sort of wave like that. That's kind of neat. So it does its job. It's just, I think the Ninja 400 has a nicer one. Or a little more traditional. This is a little bit, not the best looking thing in the world, but it does a good job. And then lastly, for this video, I would say lack of storage, but that's part and parcel of small bikes. You can't really fit much underneath the seat or the seat cowl, the rear seat storage area. Maybe something very flat like insurance documents, maybe a wallet, maybe small tools, but nothing. But I need to look into aftermarket cargo. Getting cargo net or a tail bag might be a good idea. So I would say storage is probably, there's not much room on the bike to put anything. And it's not a real small bike. It's not. It's probably very very slightly smaller than the 650s. I don't know if it even is that much smaller. It looks like a full size bike. It just doesn't have any, and that's pretty much. I think naked bikes, sport bikes, they don't have a lot of storage, so I can't really criticize. You're going for performance and agility, lightweight, and it's extremely flickable. It does almost feel like you're riding a bike sometimes. So it's a tremendous motorcycle. So those are 5 things that I'm not wild about, but that's not really the bike's fault. It's just kind of the way it's been made. If anything, those also are some of the advantages of it. My next video, I'll talk about the 5 things I love about it. It's probably more like 35 things, but I will let you know. And you can pick up these for about $5,000, brand new, maybe 35, 4,000 used, probably more like 4,000, depending where you live. Out here, out Southwest, they go about, they hold their value pretty well. Kawasaki, so you have that bulletproof Japanese reliability. Although they are, I think they're mostly built in Thailand. But Kawasaki's been building motorcycles in Thailand for, I heard, about 40 years, so there's no issue with that. They build some of their lower price motorcycles there. It's less expensive to produce, but it's Japanese engineering. There's nothing unusual about that. For example, Toyota builds some Tacomas in the United States, and they're great trucks. So that's all.